Some weeks ago, Michelle Gumabao spoke up via a video statement about her side of the story on the Miss Universe Philippines 2020 controversy. She was one of my top 5, which meant that any one of them could have won the crown. Cavite, Parañaque, Bohol, Iloilo, and Michelle, Quezon City. Ang daming naririnig, ang daming sinasabi, but we didn't hear Michelle's side of the story. So I was extremely interested. I had her statement transcribed, divided it into 12 parts, dahil gusto kong maintindihan kung bakit nangyayari ang nangyayari. So much has been said. She was being criticized. She was being bashed, as she said in her statement. So gusto kong maintindihan, what is her side of the story? Let's go to the first part. Sa una, sabi niya, she's been used to be the voice of others, encouraging others to fight for their dreams, empowering others. Pero this decision to speak up, dumaan din siya dun sa pagdududa at takot, fear of consequences and of what people would say. Pero sabi niya, I'm taking my own advice, I'm going to speak up, and I'm empowering myself. Because people have been trying to taint my name and drag me down with many issues that are not real and didn't happen. She wanted to share her truth. I want to share my story. I want to be true to myself. Because this is the only way for me to look back at all these and happily move on. So ako, bilang isang fan, inantay ko yan from the very beginning. So dito ko na maririnig kung ano ang dahilan. Ang latag ni Michelle ay pinaghandaan niya ang contest na ito. Pinatest niya yung kanyang team. They stayed in her house. She practiced her walk. I'm sure she fitted her gowns, practiced Q&A. In other words, she put in a lot of hard work into this contest. She was exhausted. Pinagsabay pa niya yung kanyang commitments to brands and yung preparation for the contest. And she was overwhelmed. She passed out and she collapsed. Pinaunawa sa atin ni Michelle that she was serious about what she was doing. Nag-check-in sila sa Baguio. This is 3 days before the check-in. She cut her head, sprained her knee, and she broke her toe. But like a true champion that she is, she went into rehab quietly because the show must go on. The third part of the statement, dumating na sila ng Baguio, she knew that she had to walk like a beauty queen. And she acted like nothing happened. Sabi niya, more than the pain, more than the struggle throughout this, it was a punishing schedule. She was prepared, she was ready with the Q&A, but she was not ready with the crazy schedules. At may mga panahon pa that they would be kept in their rooms and they wouldn't know why. Sabi niya, we were just in our rooms and those were little things that built up. At the end of anxiety or the pressures, the exhaustion, it has a lot to handle. Fourth part of her statement, she started to talk about the best night of the pageant, where she was able to bond with the other candidates, got a chance to get to know them, and she was thankful that night because they had fun. She calls it in her statement as the best night of the pageant. But again, she was on the receiving end of cryptic messages from people about, again, the results. Ano kaya ito? At this point of the statement, sabi ko, baka mamaya sasabihin ni Michelle kung ano yung mga messages na natatanggap niya sa kanyang telepono. But that night, she didn't mind them. She chose to have fun, so patuloy lamang. Number 5, and this is one of the most important parts of the statement. Early in the morning of the 25th, October 25, at around 3 a.m., I heard things that I wasn't supposed to hear, and it hurt. I must admit, I went back to my room and I cried so hard. I was heartbroken. I was devastated. I called my family. I wanted to go home. So, may narinig siya 3 o'clock in the morning, October 25, and there were things that were going around. She kept on hearing certain things, even 2 days prior to this very moment. At this point, sabi ko, ano kaya yun? Ano yung narinig niya? Ano yung umiikot ng mga balita? Ano yung mga pinag-uusapan ng mga girls at ang mga tao doon sa contest sa Baguio? But again, I was patient. Sabi ko, this may just be the style of Michelle, and she will tell us much later in the statement. Her car was waiting, she could have gone home, but she talked to her family, and they said, think about it. Whatever you decide, we will support you 100% and pray. She took their advice, she slept. Okay? So number 6, gumising si Michelle, she wasn't feeling too well. Dito na yung kanyang discourse about what is your purpose according to one of the candidates, according to one of the girls. At sabi nga niya, it was to glorify God. I had a purpose that was to empower myself so that I can empower other people. I understand that. I believe in this girl. I believe in you, Michelle. I will not forget that image, that video of Michelle carrying on her back Eliza Valdez, who had an accident in one of the games. That was a gripping footage. And that also told me how good a person Michelle Gumabao is, because I still believe in Michelle. Okay, so makeup, stood up, dressed up, smiled, looked pretty, went down. She's a good sport. And top 16 was already walking for the long gown, and alam niya that the crown would be given to the winner and everything would be over and she would be able to go home. For the last time, she said, smile, greeted everyone, etc. News of the winner had already leaked online because yung streaming nauuna kaysa sa doon sa kanilang taping. Yung feed nila was delayed. So, many people were going to her, sabi niya, hugging me, and a lot of tears were happening around. And why so many questions of why, how, what? Dito, sabi ko, bakit nilalapitan siya ng mga tao? Bakit umiiyak ang mga tao? Did they think that she deserved it? Did they think that she lost? What were they talking about? Bakit ang daming whys, ang daming hows, ang daming whats? Hindi ko maintindihan. Pero sabi ko, maya-maya, ililinaw ito ni Michelle. Sabi niya, it was just overwhelming. I'm reading verbatim. After knowing what I knew the past few days. So meron siyang alam the past few days. Hindi pa sinasabi sa atin dito sa statement na ito. Pero sabi ko, I trust that Michelle will share with us what she knew the past days. Sabi niya, after knowing what I knew the past few days, everything just came crashing down on me. I couldn't handle it. I admit I wasn't strong enough to handle that at the moment, and I knew I was going to break down, I knew I was going to cry, and I didn't want to do that in front of the cameras. Nakipag-usap siya sa production, I can't stay here, and I told them that I really want to leave. Can we please fast forward the feed? You know, I understand this, kasi sa streaming, napapanood na, while it was being announced, what I'm getting here is that it must have felt so bad, so painful, and so awkward, pretending not to know who the winner was. And then she was getting a lot, maybe, of text messages, a lot of people telling her that the winner had been announced on the live streaming. I can't do this. Can we please just finish? Sabi niya. And then somebody told Michelle, they had to take the picture. This is a controversial picture. Can we just do it now? Sabi ni Michelle. And they said they couldn't. And I said, I'm sorry, but I have to leave. And I left. Remember, ang pinanggalingan dito ni Michelle ay, alam niyo yung pakiramdam na nakikipag-contest ka pa doon sa venue, you were pretending not to know the results, but in the live streaming, nandun ang results. I understood that. I completely understood that. And she left. Pumunta siya sa kanyang kwarto, and then dito, sabi niya, she sent a message to Jonas Gafford, and she told him that she was leaving, and she told him everything. Sabi ko, wow, kung sinabi niya kay Jonas Gafford, baka maya-maya sasabihin na sa atin kung ano yung everything. She also sent a text message to the winner Congratulations. And Jonas pala raised the point, he said, meaning Jonas, okay? And he was worried about what social media and what everybody would think. And I told him to not worry and I would handle everything. I sent a message to our winner and I congratulated her and I told her the reason why I'm leaving and she replied, thank you. Here, sabi ko, sinabi pala niya kay Miss Iloilo kung ano ang dahilan kung bakit siya umalis. Sinabi niya kay Jonas ang buong kwento. The reason why she's making this statement, I figured she was going to share with me, the pageant fan, the viewer of her video, kung ano rin ang dahilan para klumaro lahat. Para maintindihan ko why she wasn't in the photo, why apat lamang ang girls na nandoon. I would understand what she heard early morning of the 25th at lahat ng mga bagay nito. Okay, let's go to number 7. Point. On her way home, she slept. Passed out in the car, sabi niya. And then, pagdating niya sa Maynila, her family was waiting and they told her everything that was happening online, you know, the bashing and the stories, all the lies. My point here is, kahit hindi natin naiintindihan ang kwento ni Michelle Gumabao, I don't think she deserves to be bashed, to be bullied. No one deserves to be bullied. Dito sa number 7, she started to talk about the toxicity ng mga nangyayari. Things that has something to do with the beauty pageant, joining because of our dreams, because we want to empower people, was just so toxic. Sabi niya, the industry, the fans, the bashers, the criticism, everything was just so toxic. At hindi siya makapaniwala. She wasn't hurt. She wasn't angry. She wasn't hurt. But she was sad. Pero hindi niya maintindihan why people have it in their hearts to criticize, to spread rumors, to tell lies. She checked out of social media. And in 2 weeks, sabi niya, she will go back to valuable training and managing other stuff. Number 8, she slept so well. And then online, people are making issues about Michelle leaving the pageant, not being part of that photo. Sabi na, the organization knew why. They knew my reasons. They knew I left, but they never said anything. Sabi ko, may hope ako dito. Kasi kung sabi ni Michelle, alam ng mga organizers, alam ni Jonas Gafford, alam nga ng winner ang kanyang dahilan, but they didn't say anything. So I figured dito sa statement ni Michelle, I'm sure she's going to tell me why. So that I would understand. I'm sure she's going to share kung anong dahilan para maintindihan namin. Sabi niya, I have to speak up. Sabi ko, may pag-asa ito. I have to defend myself. I have to fight for myself because I knew nobody would. There you go. I'm sure at this point, sabi ko, Michelle will tell us her side of the story. Ang sabi pa niya, I also want to take this time to remind everybody that we should stop bashing. We should stop spreading lies and negativity. I totally agree. Up to this very moment, itong mga points ni Michelle. So she wanted to defend herself. She wanted to speak up because nobody would. Therefore, she would speak up for herself. Sasabihin niya ang kanyang kwento. I just hope, sabi niya, that there were things that I shouldn't have heard. Balik na naman tayo doon. Sa mga bagay na kanyang narinig na sana'y hindi niya narinig. I hope that I never heard them because accepting failure is one thing. But for it to be mixed up with so much doubt and so much uncertainty towards myself as a human being, as a woman, that was something that I needed time to process and I needed time to accept. Ano yun, Michelle? Ano yung bagay na dapat hindi mo na lang narinig? Sabi ko, maya-maya, sasabihin ito ni Michelle. Let's go to number 9. Sabi ni Michelle, I do not regret joining. I do not regret being part of it. I do not regret leaving, meaning the venue of the contest. Hindi siya bahagi nung litrato. And then, in number 9, she also talked about, that question she was asked in another pageant some years ago about fake news and accountability. And I totally understand Michelle. Just an ad-lib. I love her when she does her annotations of valuable games. I think she's one of the best. She's quick, she is instinctive, she's fluid, she's fluent. Sabi ko, there is no way that Michelle is not going to share with me or with us her story. So, nanggaling na tayo sa fake news. Let's go to number 10. She talked about media. Because I think some people were saying that newspapers and people from organized media, newspapers, meaning print, tabloids, television, radio, etc. Sabi niya, no, that's not media. That's not the media that we have today. For as long as you have a social media account, you put in an opinion, and then it becomes news. We are all part of media. We have become the media. To a certain point, I agree. Sabi niya dito, we are all accountable for what is happening right now in the pageant industry. So kasali tayo. And we're all accountable and we're all responsible for all the lies. We're all responsible for all the lies and all the issues that have been circulating now that have been affecting not only her, but people. Pero hanggang ngayon, hindi pa natin alam kung anong mga lies na ito. Ano ang kanyang narinig, ano yung mga umiikot na mga rumors. Dito, nag-umpisa na ako magtanong, was she cheated? Was the contest rigged? What happened? Okay, sabi niya, I just want to take a stand on this because the reason why we join beauty pageants is to be empowered and to stand up for people. Tama ka naman, Michelle. But don't forget that you also join beauty pageants because you want to win. And not just win. Ako as a fan, I want my bets to win the top prize. So aside from empowerment, aside from standing up for people, you join pageants because you want to win. And she talked about silencing women, keeping them quiet and just accept their fate, humility as opposed to being silent. Sabi niya, you have to be brave. You have to have courage and to speak up in the midst of all of this. Sabi ko, baka dito na. Dito niya sasabihin na her story. Because you have to be brave. You have to have the courage. You have to speak up. So, what is your story? What is your truth? What is your experience? We need to hear them from you. Because it's not just something that's affecting her. It will affect the future of pageantry. Number 11. Sabi niya, it's just the crowns that we should be fixing. She started to talk about fixing society because we can. Systems because we can. Social issues because we can. We should be fixing the future because we can. And that's why I'm choosing to take a stand. And that's why I'm choosing to use my voice is because I know I can. And I was meant for something more. And I know that I was meant for this. Sabi ko, abay, sasabihin na siguro dito yung enumeration, her story. Remember, she mentioned kanina that she heard things that she wasn't supposed to hear. 3 o'clock in the morning, October 25. 2 days before that, marami ng mga usap-usapan ang umiikot. And she talked about the crown of jewels here, crown of thorns, praising God, and I am with you, Michelle. I totally agree with you. That in the center of our lives, God is there. I learned to never seek approval. I learned to never seek the praises or the validation of people. And that is the reason why I also don't die by their criticism. Because of her faith in God. I totally agree. Okay, so she mentions that she's a media influencer. If people don't see it, it's not true. If people don't like it, it doesn't mean anything. If people don't comment on it, it's validated. But I was still waiting. Michelle, nasaan na ang kwento mo? Nasaan na yung mga narinig mo? Ano ba talaga? Bakit wala ka doon sa litrato? Sabi niya, and it has to stop. We can't connect. We can't associate our worth as human beings, as women, with who we are online. I agreed with her statement about online cyberbullying. Nobody deserves to be bullied. Bullying is a crime. So, wala tayo dung disagreement, Michelle. These are very strong words that came from her. And I am not doing this to change people's opinion of me. I am not doing this to convince anyone. About what, Michelle? What is your story? What are you convincing us with? You haven't even said anything yet, except for your discourse on social media, bullying, empowerment. The truth, here you go, I'm doing this to say my truth. What is your truth? I'm doing this to say my experience. What is your experience? And to share my story. What is your story? That has something to do with you not being in the photo. That has something to do with what you thought was the cause of the cyberbullying. You know, we're trying to connect the dots. We're trying to complete the puzzle. You're not giving it to us yet. Pero sabi ko dito, dadating yun. And of course, you said people should not be quick to judge. You do not know what happens behind the scenes. You're right, Michelle. Nobody knows the hours that were put into it. Totoo yun. People do not. Why are we here? Why are we advocates? Why are we women who dream of changing our cities, our countries, and the universe? I believe you, Michelle. I really believe you. Because that change can start with you, with me. If we cannot speak up about online bullying and cyberbullying, and people spreading lies and fake news, just spreading all around, okay, so the statement was about cyberbullying. So the statement was just about online bullying. But what is your story? What is your truth? What is your experience? Thank you for the discourse on online bullying. Thank you for your discourse on women empowerment. Thank you for saying that you're standing on your truth. Thank you for saying you have your story. But what is your story and what is your truth? And then sabi mo, this is your final word. You're not entertaining questions, and I respect that. You're not granting interviews. I respect that. I am an interviewer. I'm asking all of you to respect my own opinion right now. Believe me, you have my respect, Michelle. But at the end of your statement, I have more questions than before. At the end of your statement, I am more confused. At the end of your statement, I have more speculations. Here they are. Michelle, what happened? Ano ba talaga ang nangyari? Michelle, why were you not in the photo of the top 5 winners of Miss Universe Philippines 2020? Michelle, what did you hear at 3 a.m. on October 25? What were the rumors on October 23 and 24? Ano yung mga text messages na natatanggap mo na sabi mo you were at the receiving end of cryptic text messages? Ano yun? Girls went to you crying. People went to you crying. Why? What is the story? Nagpaalam ka kay Jonas Gafford. You texted him. You sent a text message explaining your reasons. Ano yun? What did you tell Jonas? What did you even tell the winner? So that we will understand better. Why did you expect the organizers to speak on your behalf when you, at this point, who have a chance to explain and to tell us your side of the story, is obviously choosing not to tell us the story? You have this chance. Were you cheated? Again, at 3 o'clock in the morning of October 25, what did you hear? Was the contest rigged? Was there favoritism? What happened? What is your truth, Michelle? What is your experience? What is your story? Michelle, what? Thank you.